Greetings and welcome to the Healthy Sales Chick Show. I am Nancy White, your host, and we welcome you with open arms and open hearts, just like my dear friend Paula Fellingham, the founder of Win Win Women, always says. And here we like to talk about our healthy mind, our body, and our spirit. And we need to nurture all three every single day. So, one of the things that we love to do is to learn great ways because everything we do does affect our mind, our body, and our spirit, again, positively or negatively. And I absolutely love having amazing guests to come and share their expertise because remember, we are lifelong learners. And you know what? Every once in a while, we just need to ask ourselves too, do our cells need a happy, refreshing makeover from head to toe? Well, this is a place where we can get some of that done. So I want to welcome Stacy Mulligan. Thank you so much, Stacy, for your willingness just to come and spend some time with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm going to share just a little bit about what we're going to chat about because girls love, again, to share great information to either use or to share. And so what we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about some other fun things tonight. And you're going to learn more about Stacy and how to get back in touch with her too before we finish with all this. So we are going to talk about rewiring our mindset for a positive life. And yes, it is possible. It's not just a lamp we get to rewire. We can rewire this incredible mind. And we're also going to touch on assessing behavior and how knowing personality styles can create better relationships and promote teamwork. So just a little bit about Stacy. She is and has always been an entrepreneur. Most of her choices throughout life have been driven by survival instincts, yet she allowed herself to consistently follow her heart and trust her intuition. I think that is a huge statement. But in this chapter of her life, she feels moved to share the story of how the sun set on her identity as a full-time mother and left her in a place where every step felt uncertain and every decision a leap of faith. And I know that can relate to a lot of people. And guess what? No mother is ever truly prepared for what comes after their kids move into adulthood. At least Stacy wasn't. We were talking before about how, before children, what it was like, and then after children leave. But all these feelings of emptiness, sweet sorrow, and releasing that she was anticipating were nothing compared to the heartbreak she experienced. There are so many women, again, who are about to enter this new unknown chapter or already struggling in silence, usually, with the loss of who they are. And her mission is to equip more mothers with the tools needed. And you know what? We all need tools. We all need ways to be able to lean on each other and learn from each other. But welcome again, Stacy. And I love asking this question. What has brought you to this time in your life that you're serving women using these things, these gifts and talents that you have, but also from your experience?
Yes, well, a lot of it came from rewiring my mind, which we're going to talk about, I assume. But I've always been a caretaker. I took my role as a mother very seriously, very seriously.
I'm not
Uh,
going to call you a helicopter mom, but how serious were you? I know.
Truly committed. Let's just say truly committed. And yeah, I found myself in a spot where I was just lost and I didn't even know I was lost. Sometimes you don't know you're lost, and I think that makes it worse. But once I sort of came out of it and figured out ways to get beyond it and take it as a new opportunity for me, that I was also spreading my wings now, that all the choices I had made no longer have to be based on that one thing, my child, right? They can be based on me, or better, serving so many other people. And when I realized that I was able to get out of that after feeling as terrible, terrible as I had felt, I thought, I do not want another mother to be blindsided by this. Um, Fathers are different. I mean, I'm sure it's similar, but I can only speak as a mother. I've never been a father. So I do not want another mother to go through that. I don't want her to be stuck in a spot or not be expecting it, or when she gets there, not know what to do with it.
Mhm.
And so it's my mission. I really feel like I have been called to do that at this point.
Well, that is incredible. And when you talk about the things, how we get blindsided sometimes, and also we're living, I mean, let's face it, as mothers too, we sort of live in survival mode a lot of the time. And so, but when all of a sudden life starts happening and we didn't expect it, we didn't get the instructions, the rule book or whatever of, what to expect or what not to expect. So when you talk about rewiring your mind again, sometimes people just have to stop, Stacy, long enough, because don't we sort of assume that everybody else knows what's going on in our brain and they should know the same things and have the same feelings? So
Absolutely.
how did you even realize this rewiring of your mind was possible?
Well, I started well, I've been reading for a long time. I'm a super learning junkie. I am a self-development junkie. I love it. I especially love ones that make me uncomfortable and make me mad because of, what it's saying to me, like, hey, is that really what you're going to do? Is that how you're going to live your life? And I'm like, what? What? Those are my favorites. It's a love-hate relationship I have. But everything I feel like that has come into my life that has crossed my path, whether it's a book or a person or just something, it's supposed to be there and it's just taken me to the next step. So maybe I listened to a certain book and that led me to be able to hear something else, some other opportunity, like the next step. And over time, I had gone from I am a super perfectionist. I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Mhm.
I must do it all. I have to do it all. My value comes from the things I do. And that stopped right away. And I just started writing this sentence down every day. My value comes from who I am, not from what I do. And at first, I thought, huh, stupid sentence. And after a while, a year and a half, it started to just sink in. And so that's just one little thing that I started to do. But the more, your thoughts become reality. So if
Mhm.
you're thinking bad thoughts, guess what? If you're thinking, you've all done it. Oh, I'm going to be late. I'm going to be late. I know I'm going to be late. And guess what? Oh my gosh, you're late. Why? You put it in your head. You kept saying it over and over again. You repeated it. You repeated the pattern, and your brain said, oh, I must make it so. And so you were late. So it works in a positive way too. And I did have to rewire my brain to know that I don't have to do it all to be me. And just being me was enough. And I'm still working on that. That's a work in progress.
It is because we're always going through a new season of life, and guess what? We get to like the new you.
That's right. A Stacy 2.0.
Yeah.
Take me or leave me.
Oh, I love it. I know I used to think that I used to use the excuse, Stacy, that I wasn't a perfectionist. I just have excellence, a spirit of excellence. So,
Hmm.
mhm,
Me too.
mhm.
Me too. Uh,
So when are doing this, so when people realistically are going, okay, Stacy, I really need to have some mind work. It's a rewiring your mind. What is that process? And about, I know it's different length of times for everybody, but what is realistic? What is it really? They say it takes 21 days to change a
right.
habit, but what do you really want to share with people as far as how long it can take? And I know it depends on how much
Right.
you can take it back.
I mean, I think that some things can be changed right away. You
Mhm.
could, I've seen people maybe put a rubber band on their arm, and then every time they say something negative that they would never say to anybody else, they take it off and put it on the other one. And it just gets you aware of how many times maybe you're thinking negative thoughts. Maybe you switched it over 45 times in one day. And
thought you said we're gonna say that they pop it.
no, we're not gonna pop it. That would be mean. Although maybe. No, we're not looking
Yeah.
for bad behavior.
Yeah.
But I think it's also in all who you surround yourself with.
Mhm.
My circle of people, my circle of sisters have become, they're amazing. I mean, I could call any single one of them and I would receive, they give me real feedback,
Mhm.
but I also get such support. And when I say I have this brilliant idea and they don't go, "Oh, okay." They say, "Oh, tell me all about it. Oh, what if you did this? Or how about that?" And I think that's an issue for some people, is that they don't have that kind of support system.
Mhm.
Maybe they're telling the wrong people their grand ideas or their thoughts and feelings, because not everybody receives things the same way, right? You probably have a circle of people that you say, "Oh, this is who I'm going to tell this to, and maybe I'm not going to share it with that person."
Mhm.
But as far as the rewiring, I don't think there's a day or a time or a length. I think it's just an ongoing process. And just like anything else, if you do something a little bit every day, you're making progress. And by the end of the year, you're making a ton of progress.
Mhm.
People don't realize
Absolutely.
that.
And one of the little tests too, Stacy, and you can tell me if you agree with this, is like when we are rewiring, it's a more positive thing, and we have more peace, and we have more just,
Mhm.
it's not how negative sucks the life out of you and brings you
Oh, yeah.
down. When you're
Yes.
switching it, for something else that's more positive and uplifting,
Mhm.
we feel it, we
Oh, yeah.
experience it.
Absolutely. Once I started to come to terms with my new sentence, my value comes from who I am and not from what I do.
Mhm.
It became liberating for me, because then when I would be put in a situation where the old Stacy would have said, "Yes, I'll do that, and I'll bring 10 things, and I'll do this, and I'll do that." That's a slight exaggeration, but really not much.
Mhm.
And that would pop in my head, and I would say, "I'd love to come. And would you like me to bring one thing?" And it would be freeing. And it changes the way everything goes. And like you said, that energy is energy, and bad energy feels bad. I
Mhm.
mean, yeah, that's why misery loves company, right? Like they're always trying to attract all the people that are talking about bad things all the time and bring everybody down.
Mhm.
But you can do the same with positive. So,
Absolutely. And I love that you brought out that it is who you surround yourself with. And some people have no choice, but you can
right.
always find, and you just like you said, you can look at for other people that have that mindset that is the same, that's uplifting. Because I know it takes 7 positives to overcome every one negative. We either speak to ourselves or we hear or whatever. So you do have to bring in those people that have that positive outlook and that are going to uplift you and love you and support you no matter what, and be honest with you too. So I
Right.
think that's something that is a huge um, tip that you're just throwing out there, is that community. I don't care if it's just a couple of people, one or two or whatever, and it's not just somebody to go and just throw up on all the time. It's somebody that has that relationship, that you are doing that for each other. And
Hmm.
so I think that's huge. So going into our next little topic, we were talking about is assessing that behavior and knowing personalities, because people
Yeah.
think again, oh, everybody thinks the way I do. Everybody, no, there's lots of different personality types, and there's a lot of different things that go on from history, but also when you talk about personality types and behaviors in relationship, what do you suggest to people that have those questionable ones?
Well, so there is no wrong personality, of course.
Mhm.
I happen to be, I use the DISC personality styles
Mhm.
from Maxwell training. And that's what I use to assess people and help them figure out who, not who they are, but how they behave, how they come to a situation, right? Because, that's not who you are. That's just how you act, how you behave. And I'm the one that is that social butterfly that comes in the room, and that usually I'm, causing a scene when I come in. I'm like today, "Oh, what time are we meeting? Wait a minute, I thought it was this time." You know that person. And they're very exuberant and they're enthusiastic and they tend to be charming and they're great storytellers. But on the opposite end of that, you've got somebody who wants details and who's not as interested in talking to people. So
Mhm.
now when you put me against that person just wants to go home. I mean, I'm shocked that they're even there, right? Wherever we are. But so there's different types. So if you think about it, think about like somebody who's always in charge, somebody who's very bossy. That's the D personality style. So that person is very abrupt. They don't chit chat. They say, this time be there. No details, they don't have time for details. And then my version is more of the, oh yeah, let's do that. That's going to be fun. It's all about the fun for this person. They're innovative. They're always getting ideas. Ooh, a new idea. Let me work on that. And then there's the S's who are very they're not structured, they're very supportive. Most people actually are very high S. And so they're very supportive of one another. They're excellent listeners, which is great for people like me who never stop talking. And so they're great in support roles. You'll find them in positions of customer service because they're all about, let's make sure everyone is okay. And
Mhm.
that's more of their attitude. And they are relationship oriented. They tend to
Mhm.
talk quietly though. They're not
Mhm.
loud and in your face like the other two are. Yeah, because we're loud and in people's faces. And then the others are very detail oriented. They tend to want the numbers to add up, right? They're great accountants. They want to work alone. They're not so interested in the chit chat about how's the family and what did you do when you were there. They want to know about the Excel spreadsheet and did you see all the details and the specs on this project. So if you can identify who you're in a room with, your
Mhm.
conversation will go completely differently as long
Mhm.
as you it can, you're not going to fake it, but you're going to adjust to
Mhm.
that person. So when I'm speaking to my assistant, who is the opposite of me and who's very detail oriented, I have to remember that I can't just say, I have this great idea and now we're going to do this, because she needs a little more information than that, right? When are we going to do it? What's it going to look like? How many of them do you want? When do you want me to have them? And I'm just like, no, I have a great idea. Let's start it next Thursday. Um, and that's exaggerating a little, but not that much, because that is really what happens. But I have to remember that. And she also has to remember to let me tell my story and be excited and be me. So if you can figure out who that is, it's much easier to get your point across, right? To leave feeling that you're connected rather than like, wait, what happened?
Mhm.
Were they even listening to me? Or why were they mean to me? Well, they weren't mean to you. They just had a lot of questions, and you feel like you're questioned rather than that they're questioning the thing.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I found that learning this has made rejection a whole lot easier for me because it's not about rejection of me, it's rejection of whatever it is. And I try to do my best to calm down and to realize who I'm speaking to and make that real connection rather than just be, oblivious to who I'm in the room with, which is what I was 17 years ago, completely oblivious.
So it's sort of like giving grace and space to people,
Hmm.
giving them the benefit of the doubt and just, and I used to say, we got 2 ears and one mouth, and we should listen twice as much as we do speaking. And so, but when you assess people, just like you said, Stacy, you can learn how to communicate better, how to understand even their point of view, which definitely probably is not the same as yours, but you know, so
Right.
but you can work together and you can find
Mhm.
those ways of being able to not compromise, but just, collaborate. So when you're talking about, positive lifestyle and how to up level and how to just really um, do some things, does it always start with an assessment of where you are and where you want to go?
Oh, I mean, I think it has to for anything. I mean, because if you don't know where you are, then how do you know how to get where you're going?
Mhm.
you you have to. So I believe that the self-awareness is that first step. It's crucial, and it's so eye-opening for people. I love to hear their response when maybe they've taken the assessment and they get this report that explains them, usually to a T, in great detail, in 30 pages of detail, by the way. And they say, "Oh, how did it know?" And then they get to the part where, "Oh, but my husband doesn't do that. Oh, but my wife. Oh, my coworker doesn't think like that. Oh, they're more like this." And now all of a sudden they're recognizing, maybe they're, like I said, I have to tone down sometimes. I have to talk slower, or I have to give more details. But I wouldn't know that if I didn't know where I was coming from. I
Mhm.
know where I'm coming from. I'm coming in big in the room. I'm coming in.
So what happens when you meet another one of you?
Oh, oh, okay, well, so this is what happens. If my sister and I are in the same room, my husband has to leave because it's just too much. It's too much because it's too much to have two of these in the same room. We tend to get along. We maybe fight for talking. There's a lot of talking over each other when you have two of me in the room. But there's so much excitement and there's so much fun and there's so much other thing and a lot of distraction. We're very distracted. We're very easily distracted. So
Well, I know.
we we get a lot of great ideas, but maybe we don't figure out how to implement them. But yeah,
Well,
usually when you meet with a person that is the same as you, it works well. But remember, let's say you had two bosses in the same room where they're both wanting to be in charge.
mhm,
How does that work? Because now they're going to butt heads thinking, well, I'm in charge. So they have to realize, okay, you're in charge of that, and I'm in charge of this.
mhm.
And so, yeah, you do have to work it out because even though you're the same, might be too much.
Yeah. Uh, well, so switching channels just a little bit, Stacy. You have also helped a lot of people that with trauma and going through different things. And so, just for your own self, was there something that was traumatic that just all of a sudden caused you just to say, "Oh my gosh, things are not going well, and I do have to make some changes"?
Hmm. Um, I, you know, I look back at my life and I think, oh, well, that's just normal to have XYZ happen, or
Mhm.
that's not, isn't that what everybody goes through? That doesn't seem odd. But I guess I have been through some things.
Yeah. Well,
And
even becoming like you were talking about an empty nester,
yeah,
not expecting it and getting blindsided.
right. And yeah, the hardest part for me was that I wasn't going to be here when he was leaving. And after my whole life of being his mother and always being there, we had a trip to Maui planned for my 50th birthday. And we happened to be going there right at the same time that he had to leave. And so that was pure heartbreak for me. I almost didn't go.
Mhm.
Uh, but anyway, I worked it out. I had my mom come and that worked out. So she was here to see him off. But I, I I'll tell you, I cried for longer than I thought anybody could cry in a row. I cried all the way to Maui. Who cries all the way to Maui? I don't know. Me. And yeah, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know. I didn't feel anything. I didn't even feel like, oh, this hurts. I just almost felt nothing. And then, God works in mysterious ways. I came home, he was gone, and the house was empty. And, then there it was again. And it was just sort of an empty feeling. And I went in the backyard the next day, and this bird had been making a nest for weeks. And I had been watching it because it was so interesting. I'm like, look at him bringing this little stick, and he's going to build a nest with one stick and no arms. How's that going to work? And um, the baby bird was born. And that was my nest wasn't empty anymore. And that's what got me thinking differently and saying, okay, this is the new chapter. What's it going to look like?
Mhm.
Who am I? And that was a really hard question to answer. But I've been asking myself that for over a year. And I'm getting a different answer all the time. And it's exciting. It's
Mhm.
exciting instead of sad.
Yeah,
So yeah, the baby
yeah.
bird.
Yeah, but it's your mindset and your heart set too that makes it
Mhm.
that way. I mean, you two people, same scenario, same thing, and that's that choice
Right.
that you're looking at. So, oh goodness. So tell me, and you have lots of fun things on your website too. We're going to make sure before we leave that people know how to get in touch with you. So you have some tips, and you had one about conflict, avoiding conflict.
Yes, I don't like conflict. I don't like to have conflict. Most people don't. But that was, that's a way to do it, is to understand who you are first, how you're coming to the table, and then who you're sitting there with. And then it's easy to avoid conflict when you know the answers. It's almost like a cheat sheet to communicating. It
Mhm.
really is. I actually call it that. I have a download that is, I call it the cheat sheet to communicating, and it helps you avoid conflict and misunderstandings. It's almost as if we walk around speaking different languages to each other that the other one doesn't understand. But as soon as you realize, oh, we're going to speak English here, or we're going to speak French, we're both going to speak the same language, now it changes everything.
Mhm.
And now there's less hurt feelings, fewer misunderstandings, right? Less conflict. Some people are wired with conflict, and confrontation will make them run in the other direction as fast as they can. They do not want anything to do with it. They will shut down. And so, if they're empowered with some of the tools to come up against somebody who may be confrontational, but
Mhm.
using their own personality, I mean, that's gold,
Mhm.
because nobody wants to, run in fear, or just, shut down, or maybe not just stand up for themselves.
Mhm.
And so there's ways to do that and still be kind and still be the person you are, but get your point across, maybe not be bulldozed, right? Because a lot of people get bulldozed with the one in charge. Oh, we're going to eat here. Oh, well, I don't like Chinese food. Well, that's where we're going, right? And it's like you're like, wait, but it's all right as long as everybody wants to go, right? You know those people. Maybe
Mhm.
you're that person. Or maybe you say, okay,
No,
no, you're the person saying this is where we're going.
no, I don't. I ask for input, and I want to find something that does work. You know, that
Right,
everybody can have something to eat. I mean, if you're going to go and pay for all this expensive food, you might as well like it. It's like,
that's right, that's right.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, just understanding personality styles is a huge tool for
mhm,
understanding people.
yeah. It
And
is. I knew our time was going to fly, Stacy, and just because you have so much to offer and so much value and information. And so, are there any other tips that you would love to leave our audience?
ooh, um, here's one tip: be scared and do it anyway.
Mhm.
That is what I have been doing for the last couple years.
Mhm.
Being uncomfortable, being scared, but doing it anyway. As long as it's going to make me a better person in the end, then
Mhm.
I do it. I don't jump out of planes, but
That's a good plane. I know. It's
I do not jump out of planes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about do the thing that you've been thinking, God, I wish I could do this, and I love it. Do
Mhm.
it. Try it.
Absolutely. And you've
Yeah.
lived to tell. So that's
Yes.
look, this is the evidence. So how can
Yes.
people get in touch with you, Stacy? What's the easiest way for people to connect with you?
Yes. So they can go to my website, which is
Mhm.
thestacymulligan.com, and they can connect. I have all sorts of tips and tricks on there, courses and coaching programs that go along with what I've been talking about. They can follow my empty nest journey if that's something that, they find themselves in that space. So it's, my name, Stacy Mulligan. That's the third time's a charm, right? Mulligan.com.
Oh, well, I appreciate you so much, Stacy, for coming, and we might have to have you come back for a return visit sometime, especially as you're continuing to evolve and develop all the things that you have to really serve other people to become their best versions of themselves. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Nancy. You're a delight. I can't wait to come back.
Oh. Well, everyone else, please join us next time at the Healthy Sales Chick Show and next Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. And visit some of our other Win-Win Women TV show hosts. We have got a beautiful set of incredibly talented, educated women to be able to serve and to sow into others. And I would love to hear how you are taking care of your healthy self-care. You can go to my website, thehealthysaleschick.com, and just get in touch with me. I would love to celebrate all the good things that you're doing. And there might just be something from my 40 years of experience and wisdom if you've got something that you would love to have some input on. So again, thank you so much for being with us. Until the next time, be blessed and make sure you're taking care of that temporary temple until you get your permanent maintenance free one.